Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Movies Are Terrible live podcast. I got to bring the energy up. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Movies Are Terrible live podcast. Hope you guys are having a fantastic Thursday evening so far. I know I am. It's off to a good start. I've got some special guests joining us. I've got Caleb and a special guest joining us this evening for this episode of the show. Before we do get started right off the top, I did want to let you guys know that I'm having some issues with frame droppage. So you're going to be able to hear the audio loud and clear, but after I was watching Matt's video with me in playback, there was a little bit of latency issues. I don't know exactly why it was doing that. However, it should be, still audible. You can listen to us. You can see our ugly mugs as we do this, but just be aware there might be a little bit of frame droppage. Also, we're changing the format up just a little bit because, as we've mentioned in previous episodes, there ain't a whole lot of movie news going on in the world right now, and instead of kind of contributing to that noise, we decided we all love movies, so we're going to talk about movies. And to do that, we have a very special guest who is joining us for the first time on the show. It is the man Jon Knight himself from Knight TFC, the Film Cave on YouTube. Thank you very much for joining me, man.
Oh man, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure and it's an honor to be on here. I can't wait to just nerd out and just talk shit. This is something I've been trying to do for a while, and I'm glad that it's finally here.
Yes.
Thank you for having me, man.
Definitely. So you and I have collaborated before. In fact, you were cool enough to let me come and participate in a massive game of trivia with just all sorts of really talented content creators, reactors primarily, and everybody has awesome channels on their own right. I know you actually have another really big event coming up.
Yeah, man. We're going bigger. This Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, it is the third entry in our trivia saga, Civil War. So it's going to be this time our previous two champions from the other two. Just yesterday, if you haven't seen, we had our first initial draft. They drafted all their team, who they wanted. So now both their teams will go head-to-head to determine the ultimate champion and just an all-out war of nerdom and fun.
Oh, that's fantastic. Awesome. I will definitely be watching that. That's exciting. I'm a big movie trivia fan. For anybody that has been keeping up with the channel, you probably know that. If you're not subscribed, by the way, which I saw about 32% of the people watching are not subscribed, and that's totally cool. I'm extremely happy to have you guys here, whether you're subscribed or not, but I would appreciate it if you took a second while we're all thinking about it to just click the subscribe button. That way you can be notified every time we do this. But we do this every Thursday at 6 p.m. CST. So you can be sure on the Movies Are Terrible YouTube channel that every Thursday night, as long as we are able to do it, you're going to get a new episode of the live podcast. I see all you guys in the chat, and I want to just do some quick shout-outs real quick to some of our Team Terrible MVPs, including Chief Supreme, Patrick Stewart, Matt Lane Fitness. Oh, look at that. Look at that,
what?
Matt in the chat. Love it,
Mr. Lane, who is that guy?
We got Mark McKeever, Vivid Cinema, Patrick McCabe, Geisha Warrior in the chat, one of our favorite people, MN Comic Books, Random Andy's channel. Let's see. All of you guys are awesome. Thank you very much for stopping by to check this out. And yeah, we've got a lot of stuff that we're actually going to talk about. But before we get into the kind of more formal stuff, Caleb, what you been up to this week, man?
A whole lot of nothing. I shaved off my beard and it grew back pretty much. So that's probably the most exciting thing in my life.
I'm jealous.
And I've been watching a show on A&E called Rookie Year or Inside Prison Rookie Year. The only reason I'm watching it is it's takes place where I'm from.
Okay.
So it takes place in New Mexico. And I grew up in the hood in New Mexico. So literally everyone from in that prison, I'm like, dude, I know all these people.
No, are you serious? You've actually seen people?
Like know them. I mean, I did see one guy.
I was like, what?
No, I saw one guy I knew. But like, I know these personality types.
Sure.
Like, I'm like, I have a friend like that. I went to school with a dude like that. And it's super enjoyable and makes me also realize why the hell I would never move back to that state.
Did they talk about tossing the salad?
They did not.
With jelly or syrup? I'm trying to remember. I know it from the Chris Rock stand-up, but there was a show on HBO back in the day that was all about prison. And that's how I learned. Is that... No, because I feel like it was like a documentary And the whole bit was like, tossing the salad is when you eat somebody's asshole with jelly or syrup. I prefer syrup. That's like all I remember from it. Good.
I
good
didn't know
times.
syrup and jelly was involved. I just thought it was just
Yeah, I was gonna say this.
ass.
I think
Like, I didn't-
you're adding to it, dude.
Yeah, this guy has finer taste, man. What are you gonna do? You
I
gonna
guess that would
criticize
make
him,
it better.
man? Yeah, I mean a little bit. You know what I mean? It's like that book, How to Eat Fried Worms, that I read when I was a kid when he was trying to figure it out, and he's like, well, if you just batter it and fry it and dip it in mustard, it tastes less like you're eating ass. I don't know. What are we talking about? We'll go ahead and move on from that.
Welcome everyone.
That's what everyone comes for the ass eating talk.
Yes.
John, please tell me you had something more exciting go on this week than shaving your face.
Yeah, eating ass. No. So actually, man, all of my time has just been going into this event, man. I've been off the grid. I've really just been focusing on that. I wish it was more exciting. But it's just so much that goes into this shit, man. But other than that, it's been good. I've just been, I guess, boring. But one thing I have been doing is just working out, changing my diet 'cause I'm a fat ass, and that's about it. Man, I'm boring right now.
That's all right. I mean, as content creators and adults and people that work jobs, it's not like I've been up to anything super exciting this week. I guess I kind of set myself up to look just as boring because I really haven't been doing much this week. Did the live stream with Matt Lane from Matt Lane Fitness the other night. You can check that out on the channel. We had a really good time. Got to hang out and just talk, and I always really enjoyed talking to Matt. And as a matter of fact, he's going to repurpose the video form of basically it was a podcast. He's going to upload that, I believe, to the Better Than Yesterday Everyday RSS feed over there, and that is
Oh, nice.
his podcast. So you guys make sure to head over and subscribe to Matt Lane's channel and BTYE podcast as well. As if you're not, I know many of you guys, are a part of this kind of broader community, and that it's just really great to be able to see all of you guys kind of intermingling and all of these kind of things. And in fact, I was on Reddit on Holden Hardman's Reddit page just a little bit ago, subreddit, that's what they call those, and somebody had cut together this really nice compilation from the My Friend Watches series, and it's just like when I see people do that, it just warms the heart because I can't speak to both of you guys, but as content creators, there are definite times when I have moments of doubt and I'm like, am I doing this right? Am I contributing in a way that's meaningful? Is it something that's resonating with other people? And those kind of little moments just reinforce the core idea that like there's something there. People are definitely enjoying it. So that warms the heart, and if you guys haven't seen that, I'm gonna definitely share a link down in the description so that you can check that out.
Yeah, man. I didn't mean to laugh in the middle of it, but just Matt, in true Matt fashion, is chewing my ass out already. I'm sorry, sir, because he was like, "Quit that negative self-talk shit." Night. I'm like, "Fuck, sorry."
For calling yourself fat or for calling yourself lazy? Probably
I
both.
believe either one. Probably.
Probably both.
Right, probably both.
That's all right. A little self-deprecation's fun from time to
Right.
time. I don't mind it. So I haven't been even watching all of that much stuff lately, but my buddy Lemmy told me to check out a movie called Prophecy. It's a 1979 nature attacks movie. It's not the one with Christopher Walken that everybody knows from the 90s. This is an older one. Caleb, have you heard of Prophecy?
Never even heard of it.
John, have you heard of Prophecy?
Never.
Okay,
Not
yeah, doesn't surprise me. It's like a little kind of a Jaws knockoff, but it takes place like in the remote wilderness of Oregon or something, and there's this chemical plant that had been leaking chemicals into the local water source, causing all of the animals to kind of get gigantism or whatever, mutated, and there's this mutant killer bear, kind of like the one off Annihilation, and it just goes around and kills people. It's hilarious in how bad it is, but I definitely got a big kick out of that.
You got my hopes up when you said it was like the bear from Annihilation. I'm like, a movie with the bear
Right.
from Annihilation for 2 hours? I'm in. And then you said
I was
it's
like, "What's
not
happening?"
good.
Yeah, it sounds like a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, well, it's relative, I suppose, to what you're into. Caleb, I think you might like it because, you have trash opinions.
That's very true. If I can laugh at it, I love, like, is it trying to be bad or is it just bad?
It's just bad. It's just bad.
Okay, then
That's
I probably would love it.
dude. It's like Suitmation. So there's a person inside the bear, but the bear's like 10 foot tall, and your average person ain't taller than 6.5 feet. So like 3 feet over the bear's head, the person's completely blind, just running around out there in a bear suit. It's so funny looking, man. So funny.
That's
looking.
like,
God.
have you guys ever seen Birdemic?
I
Yeah.
was just gonna say that.
Yes, I love Birdemic.
Yeah, that's a good one. Would you say that one doesn't play itself? Like, do you think that one knows it's bad?
Oh no, have you ever seen the interviews with the director?
No.
This dude thinks it's like a masterpiece, and he very seriously will be like, well, if the special effects aren't good, but you get what I was going for. And like, no, he really believes it's great.
Nice.
There's no holding back. Yeah, that's his Citizen Kane. That was
No
he was
doubt.
dead serious with that.
So, John, I know you happen to be a gamer. Both you and Caleb are, and you had mentioned Among Us to me a couple weeks ago. Are you playing anything currently?
No, actually, only thing I've been playing is the game where I wipe my tears away constantly because I'm crying watching everybody play the PS5 and Spider-Man and Xbox Series X because I don't have it yet. But other than that, I just been sticking to, of course, Call of Duty, my NBA, and then Among Us. Like I said, when people want to get together. But I need to get back up on my gaming. To be exact, actually.
Caleb?
Speaking of that, today's PS5 launch day, and I was very disappointed watching. And Walmart is doing rollouts where if you really want to try to get it, you can.
Apparently Walmart's the place.
Yeah, like they're slowly doing every couple of hours. They're updating their stock, but I tried twice today, and I was like, okay, I'm giving up.
That's so wild. Yeah, they've definitely created a high demand for it with the way that things played out. Real quick, want to give a shout out to our longtime listener, Hacks, who actually followed us over from People Are Terrible, which that makes you the only one. Actually, you and German Rifter, and that's why I love you guys. I mean, I love this entire chat, but the fact that you guys hung out and listened to the bullshit that me and Caleb talked about for months. And then not only that, then you decided to follow us over here to continue to do that.
They hung out with us for like a year and a half, you realize, of
Yeah.
us talking about horrible Florida man news stories and a lady picking up a bobcat and putting it in her house because she thought it was a stray cat. All that garbage for a year.
That
and
was
then
a good
followed us
one.
here, so I love them both.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we got King of the Hills 34, Patrick McCabe, Frank Barney. I don't know that I've seen you in the chat before, but welcome. Alex W's in here. Man, you guys are awesome. You guys are the best. Caleb, I thought we would do a little bit of a People Are Terrible throwback. I don't know if you're interested in something so crazy. That'd be something that you would be down to do, just cover one weird news story, and we don't have to make this political. We definitely don't.
In this show, or do another?
No, I mean right now.
Oh, I love weird news.
All right, we're gonna do this. Give me 1 second to
Do
get
you
this
have one
pulled
locked
up.
and loaded, or do I need to search?
Oh no, I got you, bro. I got you, bro.
Okay.
We're
I was
gonna
unaware of this, America. All right, let's go.
let's see what kind of nonsense we're gonna get up to here. I just want. Okay, here we go.
Oh, that reminds me. Okay, I guess we'll talk about that later.
I'm gonna go screen share. I'm gonna go to Huffington Post.
The media said what?
This guy.
The media said Joe Biden's president. Ha 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 ha
And then that continues on for 30 more minutes.
There's do you guys follow what WTF bra? Do you ever follow them? on YouTube?
No.
So he does music remixes of political stuff. First of all, they're fire. They're so dope.
Okay.
But he has a remix of just all of his laughs, and then he has the one COVID-19. He turns it to his trap song, COVID-19, and it's
man
like
is
people
wild.
dancing in the church. It's incredible.
That's
It's-
what do you think
man.
about that? What do you think about that laugh? Does that, I mean, how does that hit you? Does it feel sincere? Is it like just him being a smartass, or what we're seeing just a complete mental break.
Sounds like the devil.
Yeah, I
Sounds-
don't know. That's a very
The
demonic laugh.
irony, right? It's listen. It's this man's making a lot of money
Yeah.
right now, and he knows he's a walking meme at this point. So it's just like whatever floats the boat, whatever gets him more clicks and play and putting his name in people's mouths, he's there for it. And not to sound crazy or whatnot, but sometimes religion and following and beliefs, whatever you do and say, people just gonna be like, "Oh yes, God," and then he can be up there doing cartwheels, butt naked, killing donkeys, and they'll be like, "Yes." So it's wild. It's all fake and propaganda.
It
As
trips
least
me
him.
out.
As someone who like is super pro capitalist and stuff, there is a part of me that totally respects this dude because I'm like, this dude's making bank off of being a crazy person.
Yeah.
And I don't think he believes it all. Like I think he truly know. I mean, maybe he is crazy, which he's definitely crazy, but I don't know if he's like so crazy to where he believes what he's doing or he's just using this as a catalyst to make money. Which there's a part of me that's like, kind of got to respect the hustle if that's what you're doing.
Here's my take. Here's my take on the exact same thing. Joe Biden won president. Ha, ha, ha. And that's it. You're out. You don't need
Not like 2 minutes.
all of that. That shit is extra, dude. Just tone it down a
Yes,
lot.
Read all about it.
Yeah, you guys need to definitely check out WTF Raw. Their political stuff is amazing. It's just all the crazy stuff that people say on the left and the right, and it's just he remixes it all into the most brilliant thing I've ever seen.
So that was our little detour. I did want to also say that 2020 has bared the release of a new Gorillaz album, and the new video is freaking fantastic. I want to say it came out like 3 days ago. And it's the same classic animated Gorillaz that you love, and they've kind of mixed in like a Grand Theft Auto element to it because they're all driving around in a car, like wreaking havoc in a more 3D modeled city. The music itself is really good, but I've always been a big Gorillaz fan, so I was excited to see that they put some new stuff out.
I love Gorillaz, dude. I didn't even know that. All right.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
most
had no
definitely.
idea they were doing anything.
Caleb, is that somebody that you ever listened to?
I used to listen to more Del the Funky Homo
Yeah,
Sapien
yeah.
before he was in Gorillaz, and Gorillaz. There's a song here or there, like them, I dig them, but they're not like my go-to.
Yo, it's 3030. I want y'all to meet Deltron Zero. That Deltron 3030, or I think is what it was called, or Deltron 3000. I don't remember, but Deltron was the shit. Del the Funky Homo Sapien was obviously the precursor to that, but yeah. And then it's the dude from Blur is like the singer, and they're a cool mesh of a bunch of stuff that like you wouldn't think would go well together, and then you put them all in a little stew, and I really like what they do.
It's a great sound.
Yep, they're definitely a different band, which I enjoy, just unique stuff. So
What else? I finished that show, The Queen's Gambit. I know I've been talking about it a little bit with Anya Taylor-Joy, and it was very good.
is that a show or a movie?
It's a mini series. It is on
okay.
Netflix. John, have you watched any of it?
I haven't heard much about it because it didn't seem like something that would naturally pique my interest
Sure.
off, the jump. I was like, oh, okay, Anya, she's cute, that's fine, okay. But I've never really gave it any attention.
So I'm a huge chess player. That's something that probably not a lot of people know about me. You wouldn't think that I was, but yes, I've always really enjoyed playing chess. I've always really enjoyed Anya Taylor-Joy, and then it deals with some pretty cool stuff. So yeah, I definitely recommend that one. And I guess that's about it for the recommendations kind of thing. But if you guys do want to see regular recommendations, make sure to head over and check out The Controversy. That's Ian Elliott Carter's YouTube channel, and weekly now we go over there and we recommend a movie, show that we've been watching, and either a song or an album to listen to. We've shot 2 episodes so far, so if you guys are like me and looking for new stuff to consume, then definitely head over there and check that out. And in addition to that, Momentum Media is doing big things with the Real Debates series, and I love to see it. I love to see it growing. They've had some fantastic guests, including my friend martial arts film freak who's here in the chat. Caleb and I have faced off with each other, and actually John was able to participate in this last recording session. So do you know when that one's going to be released?
I think he said in 2 weeks. If I'm not
Excellent.
mistaken. Yes.
I will be keeping an eye out for that. Just listening to you talk about it, I'm so stoked. Like, I love it when Ian moderates because he will not hesitate to be like, all right, everybody shut the fuck up. Enough. And it, like,
That's
it
exactly
kills
what it was.
me.
I was dying bro, the whole time.
Yeah, he's a character, man. Love
Like,
that
"All right, that's
guy.
enough. So zip it. I was like, oh shit. I was like, all right, I'm sorry.
I didn't even say anything. That's how I am. I'm like, dude, what are you yelling at me for?
Right.
The only time I've been on, I was like too short in my answers because I'm just like, I don't prepare for shit. So I'm just like, just wing everything. And so it's like 2 minutes. I'm like a minute in. I'm like, I think I said
Dude.
enough.
That's the same thing I did. I just winged. I was like, I was so ill prepared. Like, I'm so sorry. I just went in there and I was just like, all right, here we go.
And
But it's fun as hell.
I'm the opposite of that. And I feel like it gives me an edge, but it always doesn't pay off. But yeah, I go in there extremely prepared, and then when I lose, I'm like, I question your judgment. You have bad taste. I don't care who it is. It'd be
This is rigged.
Yeah,
I don't appreciate this shit.
Yeah,
Who
man.
do you work for?
No
Right.
doubt, no doubt about it. So, I just wanted to get a couple of those plug things out of the way. Make sure that you're checking out Night TFC. Make sure you're checking out The Controversy. Make sure you're checking out Momentum Media. Make sure you're checking out Matt Lane Fitness. And I could do a whole show telling you guys what other YouTube channels to watch, but you know where to find me at. I just because I appear in a couple different places, I feel like I need to reiterate that every once in a while. Oh, and another thing I've been doing this week is this is my 6th year hosting the Pensacon Short Film Festival. For those of you that don't know, Pensacon is our local comic convention, movie convention, fandom event, and there's normally 100,000 people through the door throughout the weekend, so it's a very big thing, and I'm a part of the committee that goes through and watches the submissions for the short films that end up getting played or not played at the festival, and I've been going through and watching a bunch of those, and with short films and with amateur filmmakers, you get some good and you get some bad, and I'm kind of weeding my way through both. But I think we're gonna have a really good lineup this year because sometimes these movies come through and I'm like, this could be like on the big screen. This looks fantastic, and there's been one or two in particular that I've been a real big fan of. But watching short films is something that not a lot of people do. I know I'm talking to a couple of movie lovers. Caleb, do you have a favorite short film or one that you could think of off your head that you enjoy?
No, I'm sure I could. Yeah, if I had some time to think about one, I'm sure I have one, but off the top of my head, no. One that pops in my head, it was, I think, like last year, the movie, it was like Good Hair or something like that,
Yeah.
with the little girl.
Uh-huh.
That one hit me in the feels. Like that little animated one.
Yeah.
That's the first one that popped in my head.
It was very good. Did you see that, John?
I unfortunately did not see that, but I've heard amazing things about it. It won the Oscar, right?
It did. It won.
Oh,
Yes,
did
it
it?
did. Yes, it did.
Well deserved. That hit me right in the stomach. Like the whole thing got me in the feels.
What about like Animatrix? I know you've watched Animatrix. There's a bunch of good shorts in there.
Dude.
I don't like any of those.
Jesus.
The only
Caleb.
one I like. So did
Animatrix
you watch
is
the
awesome.
Batman one? That's kind of the same thing as Animatrix.
Gotham Knight?
Yes, the
It's
one
so
by
brilliant.
Really?
That's by Studio 4C. So if you guys know who Studio 4C is, my favorite animation studio. They do MFKZS or KZ on Netflix right now. They do Tech on Kingcrete. They have one in there where it's so ridiculously stylized, it makes the entire thing.
Interesting.
Which one is that one?
It's the one where he's like a demon. Actually, I think they do all of them now that I think about it. But it's the one where it's like the first one where they're fighting by the water. I know for sure.
Yeah, the kids are by the river and then you see the demon.
They're telling the story.
Yep.
I need to check this out. So you're obviously a fan as well, Knight.
Oh, it's gold, brother. It's amazing. All the stories are like just so amazing, and you get to see every artist's unique take, on the Batman and just the different story that they do. It's yeah.
How did this slip under the radar for me? I'm definitely going to be checking that out this week. I did have one or two movie news headlines that I wanted to discuss with you guys. Maybe you got strong feelings about it. Maybe you couldn't give a shit about it. And if that's the case, let me
One
know.
floating around, I do.
Oh, interesting. You know what? Let's let you. You want to go ahead and take the reins? And what's on your mind?
Oh, okay. I don't know if this is gonna end up being your story or not, but so apparently, and I guess I'm gonna trigger somebody watching, whatever. Just warning, I don't care. Um, Apparently WB just doesn't give a shit about abuse.
Okay.
So Amber Heard is just officially confirmed that she's coming back for Aquaman 2, and that greatly upsets me.
Okay.
Because I feel like it's completely unfair. It's completely unjustified. Where Johnny Depp literally got crucified. His whole career lost roles, even now, most recently with Fantastic Beasts, over something when he was, the one being abused. So now that this is happening and it's all out there, and he recently lost, I guess, that lawsuit they were saying and whatnot, and he just lost Fantastic Beasts. But now the person who's actually doing it, they're like, oh, it's okay, she's fine. Let's keep her. She's still gonna be in the Aquaman. She's gonna have no repercussions whatsoever, and let's just keep her in because she's pretty and or whatever. It's like I just think that's ridiculous.
She is pretty. That's for sure. That much I know. But she's a special kind of crazy. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so my first story was actually the Johnny Depp side of the conversation. So we're right on the same page. So as Knight just now alluded to, Johnny Depp has basically been asked by Warner Brothers to step away from his role as Grindelwald, I guess. I don't know. I'm not a big Harry Potter guy, but I didn't really care for the movie in the first place, so it was no big love lost. Johnny Depp is kind of and we're going to talk about Johnny Depp more because this is a Tim Burton podcast, but he's going to keep coming up. But okay, so Knight, I 100% see where you're coming from. I don't know that I fall on exactly the same side of the line as you, but we're going to circle back around to my thoughts. Caleb, have you kept up with any of this?
I haven't kept up with any like celebrity stuff. I know, here's what I've heard is that like apparently she said he beat her, he denied it and sued her for libel or something like that, and then he lost the case. That's all I know about it.
That's pretty close, right, Anthony? God, I did it again. I'm so sorry. That's pretty close, right, John? That's the abridged version of it. I think what happened essentially is that Amber Heard released like some expose, basically chronicling the abuse that she suffered at the hands of Johnny Depp. They ended up getting a divorce, and through the divorce, all of these really icky details about their private life began coming out, and it sounds like they were a very volatile cocktail of celebrity, ego, drugs, alcohol, and it didn't end up playing out well for anyone. And you're right. You're right, Knight, that it does feel very short-sighted and I hate to use the word sexist, but almost sexist that Johnny Depp would be forced into a position where he had to leave in this climate where obviously there's the believe all women hashtags and things like that, where she would be able to continue to work and just kind of sweep it under the rug for her while Johnny Depp is, like you said, being dragged through the mud. So my take is that and this is, just trying to be as objective as possible, and maybe this is controversial, but I think it's probably pretty thoughtful, is that there's three versions of the truth. There's his truth, there's her truth, and then there's the fucking truth, right? And none of us were there to see what happened. It sounds to me like they were both toxic, they were both complicit, they were both violent and degrading and abusive to each other, and because of that, they both deserve the same outcome. They both deserve to be penalized in the same way, especially when Amber Heard actually has battery on her record from a girl that she dated several years ago. So, like, she's known in the court system, and yet she doesn't seem to be dealing with the ramifications in quite the same way. So, John, what do you think about that side of it?
So, for me, and to put it all in perspective, especially, for you, Caleb, so I guess the grasping of the story. So she came out and was like, hey, Johnny does this to me, he abuses me, and all this good stuff. There was a video released of them two, I guess, on a boat or wherever they were. They were in an interior and they were arguing, and Johnny Depp is like mad and he like throws a bottle because she's like calming out and doing whatever. So like, okay, time goes by, we run him through the mud, everybody hates him, cancel him, cancel this, cancel that. Great. Then it comes out that actually she was the one whooping his ass, chopping off the tip of his finger, breaking his nose, sending him to his family like all battered and bruised, and nobody understands why he's still with her. There's videotape of her admitting this and admitting to punching him and abusing him and calling him a baby and all this, and you're a grown man, just take it, and all that kind of stuff. So I can see the area of devil's advocate. So you play which side, they both deserve it. Yeah, I can see. I only find, smoke in that because on her side, there's no flat out, boom, Johnny did it. This is that. I'm admitting it. This is here. It's speculation of he did this.
You're right.
He did that. We have that one video to go off of that there's no context with behind of him throwing a bottle. She could have just did whatever. We don't know. I'm not taking any sides on that. Where on his side, it's literally like Amber, 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 and her saying this and doing that. And that's what frustrates me because especially in Hollywood, just in general, we find ourselves with this double standard where men do something, that's it. Like we're going above and beyond. There's like specialists on interviews, like, why did you do this? What happened? Da 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 da. Breakdown, all that. But a woman does it, and it's just like, oh well, she's pretty. Do what you want. I'm like, huh? I don't get just because somebody has a vagina that makes it okay for them to get away with the same things that a man would do. It's wrong either way. And that's where I see the issue in that because even if you want to eliminate both, cool, cancel both. It's fine, but do it to both of them equally. Don't just shun him aside, the abuser, the abusee, and then the one doing it. It's like, well, I'm still gonna be in this big budgeted multi-billion-dollar, franchise. So I'm like, it's ridiculous.
Caleb,
I would agree with that.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
I definitely would agree with that. Like, is now kind of getting the context from what you guys told me. And one of the things that people don't realize is a lot, if not most, of domestic violence, it is reciprocal. Both of them do it to each other. And I'm a firm believer of, if we're going to have a standard, we got to have a standard. But that's also Hollywood in a nutshell on every single issue. They're all a bunch of hypocrites. They're all hey, we can't, we'll cancel this person. But, that director who raped a girl, it wasn't rape, it was statutory. Or they'll say all these horrible things. And you're like, you're all a bunch of hypocrites. Like,
I push back.
Hollywood.
I push back against that. I would say Hollywood is just a microcosm of society as a whole, and that we're all fucking hypocrites. But maybe that's me being nihilistic. I just don't want to point the finger at them and be like, they are hypocrites because they are us, essentially. So Jim Loves Art, 199 super chat. Thank you very much. And he says, honestly, they both seem like bad people. And I can 100% see it. They definitely have done bad and hurtful things to each other. I don't want to come down on one side or the other and say what makes a person good or bad. They obviously were troubled. They obviously were toxic together. I'm going to say this on the record right now. And also, Panda Jones said, man, you dudes really need a woman on this panel. Just Panda, if you're a woman, jump on in. We'll be glad to have you on here. You're probably right about that. It would be like all of us talking about I understand that perspective. I think that's fair, but I also think this is newsworthy, so we're just going to kind of touch on it for a minute. I would let Amber Heard cut my thumb off to let me smash, and I'm just, for the record.
You got to lose a lot more than a thumb, brother.
I kind of fall on the side of they're probably, I don't know them personally, but they're probably, bad people, or not necessarily bad people, bad for each other. I don't know them personally, but that's tends to be what it is, or sometimes people are good people. They just are horrible when they're around each other. Yeah. But I don't know. I don't know the inner workings of their relationship.
I think that's, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. And it's like to go to her comment as well. And it's not like, we're saying it's a room of just definitively taking sides or, if we don't just necessarily believe the woman. I personally am just going off of, facts, what they say, and tell you, like, I don't want to come up as a dickhead, but it's just exactly what we're given. And if the abuse did happen on his side as well, cool, penalize him too. But we just want the equality for both.
Yes.
Like, don't just have one over the other. Not necessarily just taking sides, but I just don't, from what everything we've been given, that girl is like the Hulk. So it's like, we just want equal punishment, I guess.
Yeah, I agree with the sentiment 100%. I think we are all fundamentally on the same page. There's a little nuance between each of us, and I think that's just healthy dialogue. And again, this is all coming from an outsider perspective. So you guys in the chat, feel free to let us know what your thoughts are. I would be very curious to hear how you weigh in on it. As I'm kind of scrolling through the chat, it looks like people strongly are on the side of Johnny Depp in this situation. And as John said, there's a lot of very compelling evidence to support that Johnny Depp has been kind of got the raw end of this deal. That said, like I'm not gonna miss him in the movie. Like, it's all right with me. It's not gonna ruin the movie for me. But Johnny Depp is a very talented, and he's been around and doing it for decades and has done some wonderful work. But I do feel that these days he's just kind of just phoning it in. So I liked Colin Farrell as the not Grindelwald. So if they could bring him back, that would be cool. But I actually saw they're bringing in Mads Mikkelsen. So what do you think about that?
I mean, this is a franchise I could give two shits about.
Yeah,
but between the two actors, I choose Mads Mikkelsen all day before Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. Okay. I can see that.
I would say as an overall body of work, I would pick Johnny as of now. Yeah, Mads has it. I love Mads Mikkelsen, but I thought if you're going to replace somebody like Johnny, I feel like Mads is a really great, I guess, runner-up or backup to do that, because that man is very, versatile, and he's badass in just anything he does. So I'm like, do you? And yeah, I could give two shits about Harry Potter or the beasts that they find and do whatever to, but but I'm just going on principle.
No, and I agree with you 100%. Johnny Depp, just for sheer volume of doing so many great movies, but Mads Mikkelsen right now, he's definitely having a cultural moment. He's very good. Not so much in Doctor Strange because they didn't give him anything to do, but man, in the show Hannibal, he is something else. So I'm a big fan of him.
I got a movie news story.
All right.
So Jason Blum gave an update to the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, which
Ooh.
I didn't even know they were making one.
I forgot.
I literally didn't even know they were making one until today when I saw the story. But apparently he says it's coming along. It sounds like it's already written. I don't know if it's been filmed yet or started any of that process. But have either of you played Five Nights at Freddy's or know anything about it?
I know about it,
but I've watched.
Same.
So see, I'd never seen it until the other day, and then I was playing Xbox Game Pass on my phone, just streaming it, and I'm like, oh, it's there. I'm gonna try it. I do not understand the appeal of this game whatsoever.
I will say, the first game, because it started it and because it's so different, it was fun. It was like, ooh, cool. But then as the series got on, it got really, really repetitive. So that scare factor and horror, all that, just went out the window for some. Unless you're just really generally affected by horror and just the slightest breath makes you jump 20 feet, then yeah. But they had later installments where they kind of branched out and did things differently. I was like, oh, this is really fucking cool, actually. So I can see the appeal for a movie. There's definitely an opportunity there for it if done right. This can easily turn into like a D movie, like DVD type thing. But with Blumhouse, I don't feel like it'll go that route. But it's funny that you say that, because a very similar movie is in the works, if not about to come out, with everyone's favorite crazy ass actor, Nicolas Cage. So it's very funny and interesting that those two are going to be, popping out together. But I'm interested to see the Cage one.
As someone who sounds like you're probably the most familiar with it, do you think it translates well to a movie? Because my take is I think the characters are creepy enough, and it's essentially like a creepy Chuck E. Cheese. I think there's something cool in there that you could write, because the game is so bare bones that it gives you a lot of room to play. How do you feel? Would it translate well to, you think, Phil?
I feel like it will. And but we also have to understand this. It's with Five Nights at Freddy, especially as the games progress and the story progresses, they get into a lot of dark territory, and they get into a lot of things that aren't necessarily, welcomed in TV or movies. Like there's just certain rules in movies you just don't do. Like, oh, you just don't annihilate children. You just don't on screen and things like that. Where Five Nights at Freddy's definitely touches on that, and there's a lot of that going on as we future goes on. Um, but I feel like there's a lot of great opportunity if written well, if you have the atmosphere right, because you can make big ass animatronics really freaky.
Yeah.
You just have to handle the source material right. If they do it, do it. Go balls to the wall. Don't hide nothing. Don't take none of the story aspects of it out, which I fear they will do, but I hope that they do not.
I wanted to say real quick that I've got a couple of friends in the chat that I wanted to say hello to, including our good friend Prime at a Nexus from the Nerd Team 6, our good buddy that is always over watching movies with us on the My Friend Watches series. Always glad to see Prime in the chat.
Prime!
What is up, dude? Hope you're having a good evening. And then a stranger, a longtime friend of mine. A matter of fact, I would say a person that I've known longer than 90% of the people that I do know. His name is Jeremy Mullins. If you go back a little bit in my content, you can find Jeremy and I doing podcasts and movie reviews together. If you think I know a lot about movies, like I think I know a lot about movies, this guy knows a whole lot more. I mean, he is one of the most intelligent kind of film critics and film school geeks that I know of. So, Jeremy, really good to see you in the chat, man. And he mentioned that Nicolas Cage is one of the best actors ever. Goes on to mention The Color Out of Space, which is incredibly good. I really like that one, but I'm still stuck on Mandy. Like, Mandy is such a good movie, and his performance in it is just so gonzo and awesome.
For me, mine's Mom and Dad.
Oh, that's a good one.
I love Mom and Dad.
I've heard about Mom and Dad. I haven't watched it though. I heard it's pretty nuts.
It's nuts. It's totally Nicolas Cage, uncaged. You know,
my forever Cage will always be Con Air, dude.
Good choice.
Con Air is fucking amazing.
Man,
Put
that
the
accent
bunny in the box.
Yes.
I love it.
Oh man, that yeah, Nicolas Cage, he's an anomaly. He is able to simultaneously be amazing and shit at the same time somehow.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
No, I love Nick Cage. In fact, I bought that Color Out of Space. I just haven't watched it yet, just because he's in it.
You're gonna
Did you
dig
see
it.
the trailer to his new movie, that Jujitsu?
No, they're talking
Oh.
about that in the chat.
Oh my god, dude!
It's
I'm like, Nicolas
It's
Cage
Predator.
just does anything. It's Predator with martial arts. It's
Yeah.
so weird at this point. I'm like, he just does whatever because he knows he can, and everybody would just eat it up. But it's literally the Predator in the jungle with jujitsu and everyone fighting and swords, and he knows jujitsu and doing sword play. I'm like, this is ridiculous. But do you, brother?
I'm in.
I'm kind of sold already. When I saw the trailer, I'm like, this looks horrible, and I want to watch it.
A martial arts film freak says the cast of Jiu-Jitsu is fucking stacked and Cage is in it. So yeah, I'm definitely
Tony
going to
Jaa,
check
dude.
that out. Oh really?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Who's that? Martial arts film freak's gonna laugh at me for not knowing his name, but it's like
Oh, Ayu Ukuna or something like that. I know. You're talking about the
something
Raid.
like that. Yeah, the Raid guy. He is so good. He's like the new badass martial artist that I've been keeping an eye on for sure.
Yeah,
People
he's
brought up
awesome.
a good one. Alex W. Said people forget he was in Into the Spider-Verse, which I do always forget. He's
Yeah.
Spider-Man Noir.
We don't
Yep.
pick the ballroom. We just dance. That's like my favorite line in the movie.
It's like he has ever since his whole crazy stint, like all these movies and like you're being Nicolas Cage, he like shits out these few like rare serious movies that's like really good. Like holy hell, like the best one to this day for me still is Kick-Ass. Like that was like, okay, this is Cage back. He's amazing. He's great. He's not doing the crazy eyes,
Yeah.
like crazy shit no more. Like it's Nicolas Cage. I'm like, all right, awesome. But you gotta love those crazy
Yeah.
ones too.
I just now saw somebody bring up this is from Chris M, and he said, "Thank God that the Superman movie with Nick Cage didn't happen.
Yeah,
It
it's so
didn't
weird.
look great, but I actually I met Jon Schnepp, and he's the guy that directed The Death of Superman Lives What
R.I.P..
Happened. Yeah, R.I.P. to the King of the Sweaties, man. He was one of
Yep.
the coolest people that I ever had the pleasure of hanging out with. I hosted the Adult Swim panel, which he's the creator of Metalocalypse. We went out and had drinks afterwards and hung out. What's her name? Holly wasn't with him, but I got to spend some time with Schnepp, and there's an interview on my YouTube channel about it. But just out of the the anomaly that it would have been, I would have loved to see it. I can't imagine it being great, but I would have definitely loved to see it.
Yeah, it was definitely balls to the wall. There was a lot
I
going
would
on
have
in that
loved to
movie.
see it. Yeah,
And it was going to be directed by Tim Burton.
Tim Burton. Yep.
Yeah.
Look at that. That's wild. I was actually going to transition over to one more news headline, and then we'll switch gears to the main topic for the evening. I don't know if this is even something that's going to interest either of you, but there is an Island of Dr. Moreau TV series in the works from the First Class writer, the X-Men First Class writer.
Matthew Vaughn?
Is that it? No, Zach Stintz is what his name is.
Okay.
I thought Vaughn wrote First Class too.
He probably did. He probably did, John. He's probably a co-writer or something like that. Did you see the 96 version of the movie with Brando and Val Kilmer?
Like once, and that was enough. I'm like, it's okay. And plus, just so many stories from that set with Brando. I'm just like, that movie was nuts, dude.
All of that shit you're talking about is what makes me love it. There's a documentary called Paradise Lost. Caleb, did you see Dr. Moreau?
Oh yeah, I loved that movie growing up.
I did
loved
too.
it growing
I
up.
did too.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. In my head, it's still a great movie, but because I haven't seen it since I was like when it came out. When I was a
Sorry,
kid.
while y'all talk about this real quick, I have the bladder of a 5-year-old, and I just went to the restroom, so I'll be right back.
Do your thing, man. Do your thing. He's like, I'm out for the Dr. Moreau conversation. Don't blame you.
No, I definitely liked it. Did you ever see the original?
No.
No, I have once, and I didn't care for it. But I love Brando, and specifically Fat Brando is the best Brando.
Yeah, man. It's so it's such a interesting story behind the scenes, and I really want you to watch if you ever get a chance to get around to it. It's called Paradise Lost, and it's all about how the first director, and I couldn't tell you what his name is right now, but he was kicked off the project. But he was so passionate about it that he ended up setting up like a campsite a couple miles away from the set, and somehow managed to. He was tripping his balls off. He was taking LSD and found a bunch of the costumes that they were using on the production. Maybe he was still friends with some of the crew, and he's in the movie multiple times, and the filmmakers have no idea because he's an extra dressed like the monsters from Dr. Moreau. It's insane, and it's like such a cool story.
That's what's it called? The documentary?
It's called Paradise Lost. That sounds not right. I'm gonna pull it up real quick.
Say Paradise Lost sounds like an anime to me.
Right. Dude, my
Paradise
favorite
Lost.
anime movie just dropped on Hulu, and I'm so excited.
Which one is it?
Ninja Scroll.
Ninja Scroll. Did you ever see the TV show? The remake? It's not near as good, but I liked it just because I love the original, but nowhere nearly as good as the actual movie.
Oh, I love that, man.
There's a guy with bees that come out of his back. How can you not love it?
The
Dude, that
fucking
is a movie that
Stone
I
Man.
would love to see remade as live action. Like, I'm not a big fan of remakes, but Ninja Scroll I think would work.
Just visually, yeah, you have to. Oh my god, that would be amazing. You have to get the right person to direct that and just everything.
Yeah, definitely a stylized director would have to do it.
Yeah.
So the documentary is called Lost Soul: The Doomed Journey of Richard Stanley's Island of Dr. Moreau. And Richard Stanley's the guy that directed Hardware, that old sci-fi kind of. Caleb, I think you've seen it before with the robot in it.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about.
He's an interesting filmmaker, Richard Stanley. So, yeah, Lost Soul, The Doomed Journey of Richard Stanley's Island of Dr. Moreau. But we'll go ahead and switch gears out of that. I don't have a whole lot more to say about it, but thank you very much, Jim Loves Art, $1.99 Super Chat. He was a great dude. Talked with him at a con. Jon Schnepp. Yep, absolutely. Love to see the love for Jon Schnepp. I think, though, the nerd community just hadn't been the same without him. That's the way that I feel about it.
Yeah, definitely, for sure, actually.
All right. Well, on that somber note, let's switch over and talk shit about Tim Burton. So for a topic this week, we normally were doing the movie club thing, but we started to realize it was challenging to find movies that were available on the streaming services that were available to the most people, and find movies that nobody had seen. And then Caleb, myself, I'm sure John as well, we watch a lot of movies every week, so it got to be a little bit daunting. And to be honest with you guys, I think a lot of us would prefer to talk about things that we can all connect with and things that are familiar with us. And for me, Tim Burton has been a filmmaker that I have kept up with and has been a big part of my life ever since, what was it, 1986 when Beetlejuice came out or whatever. Like, Tim Burton is a visionary. He is so specific in his aesthetic and his style and the way that he approaches things. When you see a Tim Burton movie, you know you're watching a Tim Burton movie. I said Beetlejuice was the first one I liked. Actually, it was Pee-wee's Big Adventure, which is an amazing movie. So I can go on and on about some of my favorite Tim Burton movies, and we will get to that before we kind of settle on whether or not he is a hack or a genius. But before that, Caleb, what was like the first Tim Burton movie that you saw?
I mean, I'm assuming it was probably Batman. You know, if I had to assume, I would assume that was probably it. Batman Returns is probably the one that, like, really stuck with me the
I
most.
know you love that movie.
Love Batman Returns.
So,
Damn, best Christmas movies ever.
Yep.
sure. Yeah, can't disagree. What about you, John? What's the first Tim Burton movie that you remember seeing?
Oh, it's Batman,
Okay.
for sure. Being the obsessive biggest Batman fan on earth, that's just natural. But it was definitely Batman, followed by Nightmare on Elm Street. Even though it's not his, but he presented it, but still.
Nightmare Before Christmas.
Nightmare Before What the fuck did I just say?
It was
Nightmare
a
Before Elm
slip.
Street?
I knew what you were talking about. Yeah, you said Nightmare on Elm Street.
See, I have no sleep.
So yeah, okay, 1989's Batman. That was a movie that I absolutely love. I still, to this day, I very much enjoy it, and it is unmistakably Tim Burton. But I would also say that some of the biggest issues that people seem to have with Batman is that it's such a Tim Burton movie. John, as a diehard Batman fan, as you just now said, like, how do you perceive the movie with all of the knowledge that you have now looking back on it?
I loved it. Batman Returns is my favorite.
Nice.
But I loved his, iteration of Batman. It's with me, I'm not, another trigger warning, but whatever. I'm not somebody who, because I'm a fan of an IP or of a character, does not mean I have ownership of it. So if somebody takes a character and creates something in their own vision, great. That's a vision. It's a badass. It's amazing. I'm not one of them who's going, Batman doesn't do this, Batman doesn't do that, or da 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 da. It doesn't matter what he does. It's not yours.
Yes.
So go along with the ride and just enjoy it. So I loved what Burton did. I loved the style, especially more in Returns. That's where he really was Burton-y and just let full loose. So I absolutely loved it.
Yeah, go ahead, Caleb.
I was gonna say, I'm so glad to hear you say that, because that's my take too. Like, when people reboot characters and they're like, it's not that character, I'm like, well, guess what? Your first version you saw isn't the true form of that character either. None of these are. They're all iterations.
Yes.
So I agree with you. For me, when he went full Burton with Batman Returns, is incredible. Hands down my favorite version of Penguin. Hands down my favorite version of Catwoman. Easily.
Oh yeah. Same. I had like a sexual awakening watching Batman Returns.
Watching Penguin.
yeah.
We're on different pages.
I was going with Christopher Walken. But, all right.
No, dude, there was something about what was her name?
Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yeah, but what was her name? Selena Kyle. Duh.
Selena Kyle,
Sorry,
yeah.
took me a second. Yeah, something about it. I mean, obviously it was the BDSM costume and the whip and the patent leather and stuff. But yeah, I was at that age. I think I was probably like 10 years old when that came out, and I was like, this makes me feel funny. But
Halle Berry takes the cake in that department.
Sure,
for me, in terms of the suit and all that. Sweet Lord, I couldn't stay dry. But yeah, but like Michelle Pfeiffer Catwoman, yeah, is like the absolutely.
Yeah, man. So I really like Tim Burton's Batman. His take on Gotham City in particular is something that I've always kind of went back to and I know it's a very heightened version of reality when you look at Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight and how like that just looks like a city. Tim Burton's movie definitely looks like a soundstage, but everything is so detailed and ornate and just visually interesting. And I think that's one place where Tim Burton really excels. And I saw Jeremy just now mentioned in the comment section that he thinks a big part of what makes Tim Burton work is Danny Elfman. And I totally agree with that. Similar to the way that John Williams has always done a lot of the heavy lifting for George Lucas. I think that Danny Elfman is part of that Tim Burton aesthetic. But man, I love what is arguably one of Tim Burton's least Tim Burton-y movies, and that's Pee-wee's Big Adventure. That movie is weird and awesome. Do you have thoughts on that one, Caleb?
I loved it as a kid, but I haven't seen Pee-wee in so long. Like, I couldn't even remember what it's like.
Okay. What about you, John?
Same. It's been so long. Like, I remember just getting the doll for Christmas. Like, I loved Pee-wee back then, and every time I completely forget that Tim Burton did Big Adventure every time. I'm like, holy hell, he really did that movie. I completely forgot. So it's been a while since I actually sat down and like revisited the film.
I'm the weirdo that loves Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Actually, it looks like Jim Loves Art is in there as well. Tell him Large Marge sent ya. Yeah, Tim Burton loves stop motion, and that's another thing that I really like going through and looking at a lot of his early drawings and sketches and his concept art and all of those things. Like, I think he is just so specific that I have to fall on the side that he's a genius. I think he is completely just brilliant on a level that very few people of our generation are. I also think he is a company man in a way that really contradicts that energy that I get from him, especially in his earlier work. I feel like there was a certain time when I kind of started falling off. I couldn't tell you specifically what it was, but I know I love Beetlejuice. So y'all Beetlejuice fans?
That's what I was just going to say. I'm like, I think we got to talk about Beetlejuice because that is, I would say, what really started the true Tim Burton style.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah, that was the dawn of it. Absolutely.
I respect Beetlejuice more than I like Beetlejuice.
Oh, interesting.
Like, it's visually interesting. I loved it as a kid. As an adult, I'm kind of like, could take it or leave it.
Okay, what about you, John?
I'm not gonna say I love Beetlejuice. I will say I really liked Beetlejuice. Like, it's fun. It's a creative world. Michael Keaton was awesome. But yeah, it's I definitely really liked the movie. I wouldn't say I loved it. It was definitely one of his bests. If I had to go off of, I mean, are we technically counting before I say this Christmas, a Tim Burton movie?
Yeah,
Most
I kind of think we have to. I kind of think
Yeah.
we have to because even though it's not directed by him, it's totally his world, you know?
Right. Okay. So, like I say, if I had to give my top three, I would have to say it's obviously Batman Returns, Nightmare Before Christmas on Elm Street, and
Well done. I see you. I see you.
and then a third one, which I feel like does not get the credit that it deserves, and I feel like it should be a lot more hyped, is Sweeney fucking Todd.
I'm glad you brought that up, bro. Yeah.
I love Sweeney fucking Todd, dude. Like, it's such a great and awesome movie, and it's so underrated to me. But if I were to answer your question before we get into that, in terms of genius or hack, I'd put him in between. I wouldn't necessarily, if I can do that cop out, because I wouldn't call him a genius. I don't think he's revolutionized film outside of his own aesthetic.
Okay.
Like, once he did it, it's just kind of been like, okay, this is Tim Burton through and through. Like, if I were to call a filmmaker a genius, like, they're constantly just giving cinema holy hell, like changing the game genius and just thinking outside the box in ways that we just don't expect. And I feel like Tim Burton doesn't do that outside of his own Tim Burton aesthetic.
I think that's a really valid point. It's like maybe he's not as influential because, maybe other people don't necessarily try to emulate him, which is actually a good thing because I think it would ring false. But I look at a studio like Leica with Paranorman and even Kubo and the Two Strings, and while it's not completely on the same page aesthetically, I do feel like they borrow a little bit from the Tim Burton style.
Oh, absolutely.
For sure.
And even Coraline. Did he do Coraline?
No, but that's
No,
another
but
that's
very good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will take it one step further. I actually don't like Tim Burton on a whole. I feel
All
like
right, man.
he
Good
has-
talk. Talk to you later.
So I feel like Tim Burton is one of these directors. If you look at his catalog, I think it's more closer to overwhelmingly bad than overwhelmingly
Wow.
good. But he does have,
Overwhelmingly, Bill.
yeah, moments of brilliance, like Batman Returns. But then two of his better films, he didn't even, like his most iconic film, he didn't direct. He just visually and produced it. Another one that I enjoyed was 9. Again, he visually influenced and produced it. But I feel like once you've seen a certain Tim Burton film, you kind of know what you're getting.
Really?
It's just a kind of a shtick, and you're like,
So
oh,
no,
okay.
like Edward Scissorhands, Sleepy
No,
Hollow.
No.
Like,
Well, I like Sleepy Hollow
Wow.
moderately.
So, martial arts film freak with the 199 super chat. Thank you very much, bud. I'm glad to see you in the chat. He says Tim Burton is an auteur willing to make crap.
I think it's
That
a good,
it's a
great take.
very
I mean,
good
that's,
take.
That's true.
He
doesn't
is.
care. Swing for the fence.
And he is an auteur, like that signature style, that house style of Burton. You know exactly what you're getting, and he is willing to make crap. But there's so much more to this story that I actually just learned like a couple of months ago, and maybe we'll just kind of scratch the surface on that here in a minute. But I did want to say that we've got Ian Elliott Carter, the man, the myth, the legend, the controversy with the $2 super chat.
What it do, bruh?
He said, "Hey, big boys, what's up, buddy? Glad you stopped by. Glad to see you in the chat always, man. Even better when you're giving me money, Ian. Thank you, appreciate that.
Yeah, he's gonna be in the event Sunday. Actually, by the way, too.
Oh man, that sucks. That sucks, man. Like you had so much credibility with me, John, until you let that fucking clown into your.
Hey, I tried to get your ass. What happened? You want to be responsible in life and everything.
No, I love Ian. You guys know that. That's my boy. But dude, I mean, Caleb, I can see where you're coming from, but I've got his IMDb in front of me right here,
I'm
and
pulling it up now too.
I'm looking at
Everything the same. Hell.
let's see where it really starts is Pee-wee's Big Adventure. I mean, there's the Frankenweenie short before that. Nobody knows that. Pee-wee's Big Adventure, 1985. I was 3 years old when that one came out. Big fan of that one. Beetlejuice. Big
Alice in
fan of
Wonderland.
that one. We've talked a little bit about that. We've talked a little bit about Batman. John, you brought up Edward Scissorhands. Is that a movie that you really like?
Oh, Edward is classic. Yeah, it's for damn sure. And it's looking at it now, I'm like, okay, there's a lot more movies here that I definitely wouldn't say is more overwhelmingly bad. That I was like, wow, sir.
Ruthless.
But like, even though it wasn't great, Alice in Wonderland, whimsical, like that was a good movie, cool. You can completely miss me with Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. But,
right. See, yeah. All right.
I didn't mind Miss Peregrine's.
Okay.
Like, it wasn't the best, but I was like, okay, it's interesting. We're
The
getting
first
somewhere.
half of that movie is pretty enjoyable.
Yeah. I was
I
like,
will give you
great.
that.
Mars Attacks is fucking great.
I love
I
it.
keep forgetting he did that.
I love it, and I don't
love
think
Mars Attacks.
I don't think we're in the majority, John. I hear a lot of people that kind of throw shade at Mars Attacks, but that scene where the aliens make contact and we've got this bullshit translator that makes it seem like they're saying they like come in peace and stuff, and then they
Right.
just start unloading on everybody, burn up. Dude, there are so many celebrity cameos in that
And
movie.
The cast is great. Yep.
And they all just get smoked. Like every single one of them. Sarah Jessica Parker ends up with her head grafted onto like a little toy poodle or
A
something.
little dog.
It's
yep.
insane, man. It's
Pierce
so
Brosnan,
fun.
too.
You
Just
know?
a little
That's
globe
another
chilling.
one of those movies that I just kind of come down on is like, it's okay. Like it's forgettable. Like Mars Attacks. And that's how I feel about most of his catalog. I just feel like
Wow.
most of it, like Beetlejuice, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
He did give us Planet of the Apes. He does have to. He needs to
Yeah.
ask forgiveness for that.
Atone. Yeah.
Is as a diehard, my sleeve that is Ninja Turtles almost was Planet of the Apes, but I'm like, they all look the same. So I didn't want to do that. And that, I remember I went opening day, was so disappointed. I saw it again the next day because I'm like, no, I'm wrong. Like, it's Planet of the Apes. It got to be great. I saw this movie like 2 or 3 times just hoping that it would be good.
Dude, that ending alone was like, I'm out.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, this is. Yeah, it's wild.
Here you go. Maybe this will change your mind about Beetlejuice.
I'm a graduate of Harvard Business School. I travel quite extensively. I lived through the Black Plague, and I had a pretty good time during that. I've seen The Exorcist about 167 times, and it keeps getting funnier every single time I see it. Not to mention the...
Nothing? No?
No.
Was that Beetlejuice or Lewis Black?
I've seen The Exorcist 37 times, and it keeps getting funnier every time I see it. Oh, man, Michael Keaton kills
I
in
agree
that
with
movie.
I think I'm the only person that actually finds Exorcist hilarious.
Oh, it's so
It's
funny.
incredibly funny.
Oh, I was like, every time I was like, oh, it's so scary. I'm like, I found it hilarious. I was watching it at like 10 years old, like, so I was like, oh, no.
So
Best
one
line.
I haven't seen that I want to see if you guys saw that I've heard great things about. I heard Big Fish is amazing.
Oh,
I've never seen
yeah.
that. That's actually one that I haven't seen.
It's very good.
Yeah, I didn't see it. I didn't care to be honest with you.
It's very good. It's one of his few that I would say break away from being so distinctively Tim Burton, and I think it was a success in that way. Ed Wood is probably my favorite Tim Burton movie. You guys seen that?
Yeah.
I've seen Ed
long
Wood
time
when it
ago,
came out.
yeah.
Yeah. Like, well, when I was young.
So that would be the second of the Johnny Depp collaborations. This was kind of the start of going back to that well over and over again. And Johnny Depp is very good in Ed Wood. I like it because it's almost like The Disaster Artist or One Cut of the Dead or My Name is Dolomite or Dolomite is My Name. It's like the making of a bad movie, but with such earnestness and reverence for filmmaking and the whole process of it that it just wins you over. It's like, yeah, he didn't have the talent or the skills to back it up, but what he did have was passion and heart, and he made it happen, dude. And I think that's a universally inspiring story.
I didn't mind Dark Shadows either. To be honest with you.
Oh, whoa. I can't rock with you there.
I didn't mind it.
That's
all right.
all right.
Okay, this isn't bad.
Have you seen that one, Caleb?
Yeah, I would say it's about the quality of most of his films.
Man, you are out of your goddamn mind. All right, so then Sleepy Hollow. Sleepy Hollow came out in 1999. I worked at a movie theater when that one came out. Another Johnny Depp collaboration. Okay, you do. You enjoyed that one. Yeah, I'm a big fan as well.
I would say that's one of his better ones by far.
It's got a really cool gothic comedic tone. It's very gory while staying lighthearted. Johnny Depp's actually, like, his weirdness and his quirkiness works really well as Ichabod Crane.
Yep.
I'm a big fan of Sleepy Hollow.
The over-stylized blood. That's
bright
orange.
Yes, for sure. 100%, dude. And then Planet of the Apes we touched on a little bit. I do think that was very poorly done. However, the makeup effects by Stan Winston were exceptional.
Oh yeah,
the
can't go wrong
makeup
with
is
Winston.
incredible.
No doubt. No doubt.
Can't go wrong with him at all.
Is it weird that Helen Bonham Carter or whatever her name is?
Oh, Helena Bonham Carter.
Yeah, she looks almost more attractive in ape makeup than in real life.
Yo, that's the truth, man. That's the truth.
I mean, she hasn't changed in like 20 years. She looks the same always. So kudos to her too. Also, I think she still looks great. Like I just saw what is it? That Netflix movie, Alona Holmes. I was like, oh,
is she in it?
And she was in it. Yeah, she's the mom.
Ah, I didn't
like,
know
wow,
that.
She was great. Yeah,
she does look exactly the same. She's like a vampire in that way.
Yep.
Matter of fact,
that's a compliment.
Her and Tim Burton, they got a divorce a couple years ago, but they're still neighbors, and they have a tunnel underneath the ground that connects both their houses because they're fucking weirdos.
I believe it.
You know what, Tim Burton? I feel like for me, a big thing that turns me off is you ever meet those people who like constantly gotta prove that they're weird and unique to you?
Yeah,
They're
me,
just like, look
basically.
how weird I am. Weird. I hate it. I'm just like, dude, you're not that weird. You know, that's what Tim Burton feels like to me.
Yeah, I definitely can see that. He's and okay, so this opens up the conversation, and then we'll come back to his filmography in a second. But Tim Burton is an interesting character because he is so much exactly what you said, Caleb. It's almost like he's projecting his weirdness and his outsiderness, but he's also like a cog in the machine. I know that Disney funded his short film Frankenweenie. He's been connected with Disney since before his career started, so it's not like he sold out and became a company man. It's just that for a long time it was more behind the scenes and that people weren't aware of it. But if you think of the actual messaging of his movie, everything's in suburbia, and it normally comes around to almost the weirdo conforming to be a part of that
Of the norm.
yeah, exactly. And in a way that almost seems antithetical to what you would think the stories would be about.
Yeah, I think it's all naturally just a general thing of like acceptance. Like no matter what it is, just like be who you are, live your truth. You might be different. Don't conform to society because they want you to live amongst yourself within that society and give them something different. And that's always kind of been like his number one stick. Like you said, that's a perfect example of like Suburbia and Edward Scissorhands and everybody else is like, oh,
Yes.
who is this? And people falling in love or what's different, but still wanting to kind of take advantage of. Like, there's a lot of messages about it, which I do like. That's a great point that you touch on, actually.
Yeah, and you said it very well. So Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, I think we have different feelings about that. As a matter of fact, it's funny. I know I'm like throwing out celebrity name dropping, but Deep Roy, my wife's last birthday, Deep Roy hit her up and said happy birthday or whatever. You know, he's the little Oompa Loompa guy. We met him at a convention years ago, and I think he's in love with my wife because he hits her up all the time, which is amazing. But I really like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory because it is so fucking weird. Like, if you told me it was the worst movie you'd ever seen, I would 100% understand where you're coming from. And it's not near as good as the original, but Johnny Depp did something in it.
Here's the thing, and here's where it gets crazy. I didn't like the movie, but is it crazy to say I actually loved Johnny's take as, you know, Willie?
As Michael Jackson.
Like,
Fair.
it was like, I like and applauded just how fucking weird it was and creepy and all that. Because if you listen, original or not, no matter how great it may be, if a grown ass man is inviting all these little kids to my fucking factory, come see all the kids and come in this, and let me lure you and all these little things, you're gonna be fucking weird to begin with. I don't trust you. So it's like, I guess he's just playing upon that, which, hey, just bring hyper awareness to it. I guess.
Yeah.
I didn't mind his portrayal. Just the movie, I'm just like, yeah, whatever, okay.
Yeah, I can
But
see
I don't
that.
think-
And Caleb, you obviously you're
Chewing gum
Michael
is really gross.
Jackson.
Chewing gum, I hate the most.
Caleb, your Michael Jackson comparison is pretty spot on. I think that.
Well, that's what Johnny Depp does. If you ever notice, he picks someone and then he does an impression of them. Like who Jack Sparrow
Keith
is.
Richards.
Yeah.
Yes.
Jack Sparrow. Yeah.
Yeah,
Really
and that's
good
what he
point.
does. He picks someone and he goes, "I'm going to do an impression of him." Clearly, he picked Michael Jackson and did a Michael Jackson impression, which makes sense, as you said. If you're inviting a bunch of kids over, you're probably pretty fucking weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
I follow him, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, kind of how I do all of his films. I'm like, it's another Tim Burton film. You know, like I don't hate it, but I don't have any reverence for it. I don't appreciate it.
The music in it is so bad, but that's a whole different conversation. The next on the list of films that he directed, and these are not all because we did skip over Henry Selick's, I believe that's who directed Nightmare Before Christmas, but he did direct Corpse Bride, which came out just a couple years after The Nightmare Before Christmas, actually several years, but when you're old, it seems like a lot less time. He really refined a lot of the stop motion animation that was done in Nightmare Before Christmas, and I think it's a beautiful film. Obviously,
You can't refine it. It's perfect.
yeah, yeah. But I do feel like it's the lesser of those two movies, and that's just kind of an unfair, it's like stuck in a situation where it couldn't really live up to the previous one, so all it can really do is like just try to be as good. But from an animation perspective alone, I think it's really, really well done.
I think you're spot on. Actually, I like Corpse Bride, but it's just in comparison to Nightmare Before Christmas, it pales in comparison. But it's not a bad movie. Actually, I think there's sometimes with these stylized directors, it almost works better in animation.
Yeah.
Even a director that I love all of this stuff, and I can't think. Moonrise Kingdom, Isle
Wes
of Dogs.
Anderson. Uh-huh.
Oh, Wes
Yes.
Anderson. Yeah.
As much as I love his live action, his two stop motion films to me are just like next level incredible.
You love those.
Love them.
Yeah.
Like I can't get enough of them.
I haven't seen them. I haven't seen any of the stop motion. It's been all live action so far with him. So that's interesting.
Yeah, I think it almost kind of like Tim Burton almost works better because when you're a director who is so stylized and fantastical and fantastic and dwells in fantasy, when you completely throw out all reality, it's a lot less jarring and it just works on a different level. And for me, that's how Tim Burton to me works best.
I feel like the same thing was said about, even though I didn't watch this movie because I didn't care to, but the same thing was said about Zack Snyder, like with Legend of the Owl, whatever the hell. Apparently that was
incredible.
like, yeah, apparently. But I was like, I guess that still falls within the same, aspect of that. So I understand that in terms of visual directors.
I haven't seen the Owls of Gahul, but I'm curious too.
okay.
I wouldn't mind checking it out, but yeah, I feel you on that. So 2007 is when Sweeney Todd, the Demon Barber of Fleet Street, was released, and I'm
Pretty
gonna tell you
women.
guys, at the year of 2017, I guess I was 2007, I guess I was 25 years old. And I was still just in love with Tim Burton. For the longest time, everything he did, I was there, front and center, right when it came out. And when I saw Sweeney Todd, it took me about 15 minutes of being a little bit, like, embarrassed. Because, like, I took some friends to see it. And, like, when the song started, I'm like, oh, man, I don't know if this is the vibe that I was expecting. But then when I settled into it, I really like that shit is so cool. What a fun and interesting and dark movie. And John, you said that you were a fan of it. So what about it hits for you?
Oh, it's amazing. It's my top 3 of his. I have the whole soundtrack on my phone. Absolutely. I love Sweeney Todd. Tim Burton was the perfect person to take on that material in that stage play. And it's like, without being too Tim Burton-y, like, you had the atmosphere, you had the acting, the songs were great. You had the actors actually singing them, which I love. All about blood and gore, so it was a gore fest. Even though it looked like High C Punch, it was still amazing. I just love the tonality of it, and it still hits dark themes. Like, because I wasn't familiar with Sweeney Todd, the musical or the stage play or all like that when I saw the movie. So when I actually watched it, I was like, oh, it's just a, barber killing people, okay, whatever. But as the story progressed and what he's been through, what they're actually doing at the restaurant at Mrs. Lovett's, and then the end and all that, I'm like, holy hell, this story is all over the place.
Yes.
All right, cool. So I just loved it. It was weird and just great.
And there's just such an inevitability to the way that it ends. Like, you realize before he does what's going on with the beggar lady that's been following him around, and you're like, don't
Dude,
do
man.
it. Yeah.
I was like, no, it was her. I was like, oh, and then the daughter in the shed, I was like, please don't kill her.
Yeah.
I was like, don't do it.
No shit, dude. So it's ruthless couple minutes there at the end. Caleb, have you seen Sweeney Todd?
So I'm a weirdo who's seen the original 36 Sweeney Todd. And I've seen was there one in like 82, 85?
Yeah,
the remake?
The British version of it, I believe.
Yeah, I've seen both of those. And I didn't really care for either one of those. I didn't really like them. So when this one was announced and it was Tim Burton, I just kind of passed it up. But it's another one that I hear a lot of really good. Like, it's the one when I go, I don't really care for Tim Burton, that people go, oh, you need to watch this.
Yeah, like, you definitely should. Like, it's such a good movie. And like we're saying, the last 20 minutes of it, it's just do. I'm like, oh my God. Like, it's so good. It's Tim Burton-isms are definitely in there, but he doesn't oversaturate you or hit you over the head with it. It's just very subtle. I'm like, okay, cool.
I'm with you, man. I think that I am also a very big fan of Sweeney Todd.
Is it more similar to like Sleepy Hollow, where it's not so Tim Burton in your face?
I think that is the best comparison you can make.
Yeah.
Okay, because that's why I like Sleepy Hollow. I feel like it's not overly Tim Burton.
Yeah, no, this one isn't at all. Like, you'll get your few stuff like here and there, but it's completely just dark alongside the music. But even the music can get like, oh shit. So it's definitely Sleepy Hollow is perfect, actually. Yeah.
I really like the song. I think it's called Joanna from Sweeney Todd.
The beginning.
Yes, so good, man.
Joanna, Pretty Woman, My Friends, like.
Oh, you know the soundtrack. I love that, dude.
Oh yeah, dude,
that.
absolutely.
So
I love it.
For me, and this is where it ends. 2007, the last great Tim Burton movie. From then on, and I would love to hear that you guys have different opinions about a couple of these, but from Sweeney Todd to Alice in Wonderland, I went and saw Alice in Wonderland, and I absolutely hated it. I hated it. I thought it was visually unappealing. I thought the story was very generic, and it kind of turned into like a Lord of the Rings fantasy epic at the end, which was totally out of step with what the Alice in Wonderland thing is about. And it wasn't as like psychedelic and obviously because it was made for a more broad audience, but a lot of the psychedelic and drug culture stuff from the original was just completely taken out of it in favor of making it something more like a epic. And
They tried to do it a little bit with like the worm, the caterpillar,
Sure.
with Alan Rickman. I was like, yeah, they tried, but I'm like, yeah,
So
I see your point there.
you liked it a little bit more than I did, obviously.
Yeah, I liked Alice in Wonderland. I'm not gonna say like, oh, it was great and amazing. I'm just going through this filmography and stuff like that now too. But it's like I liked it. Like I didn't mind it. I'm like, okay, he did it. He did his take on it. Cool. Like I didn't mind it. He should have made another one.
No, you're right about that.
He should have made another one. Like, fine, you made your imprint on Alice in Wonderland. You did it. If anyone's gonna do it, you were the guy to do it. Cool. But you didn't need to do the second one. I was like,
100%,
okay,
bro.
What the hell?
I,
Even though you had the cast, but I'm like, no, no.
That was one I couldn't even finish. Like I watched it
Okay.
at home and I was like halfway through and I'm like, I'm
First
just
one
done.
or the second one?
This first one. I just
Okay.
turned it off halfway through. I was like, I can't finish it.
So Caleb and I agree on a movie. We're 15 movies in, and we are on the same page about one. Yeah, it's trash. Okay, and then followed by Dark Shadows, which again, and we hadn't been saying it as we went along, but Sweeney Todd had Johnny Depp in it. In fact, Johnny Depp is not a great singer, even though he is a musician. He's played in bands and stuff forever, but I do got to give it up to him for his performance in Sweeney Todd, because while it wasn't the most like refined singing, he had the balls to get in there and do it, and I liked his delivery.
Yeah, I liked it because it was so him. He wasn't trying to go for like, what are they called? The music awards, whatever. But I feel like it fit tonally with him. Like they gave him material like, okay, just sing. It's you. And I like that aspect.
I agree.
Mm-hmm. He wasn't trying to belch or go crazy. So I was like, all right, stay within your lane. Even Alan Rickman was good. Helena was good.
Mm-hmm.
I think those are the only people that really. Yeah, I don't know the young actor's name, but I liked it.
Alice in Wonderland, obviously Johnny Depp played the Mad Hatter in it. Very, very wonky all around, which I know he was supposed to be, so no strike against him there. And then in Dark Shadows, he plays the iconic vampire for any of you guys that grew up watching the BBC or the British soap opera, The House of Dark Shadows or Dark Shadows, Barnabas Collins. And that was Johnny Depp's take on the character, and this is one similar to what Caleb just now said with Alice in Wonderland. I watched enough. I watched as much as I needed to before I was just done with it. So unfortunately, at this point, that was 2 movies in a row of Tim Burton's that not only let me down, but I actively disliked. So do you have anybody got different feelings on Dark Shadows? Knight, what are some good things about it?
I felt I'm a person that's a really big fan of Johnny Depp humor, no matter what he does.
Okay.
I feel like he just does it in a way that's very quirky yet reserved, but he could like turn it on to where it's like and all type of stuff like that. I tend to like very reserved Johnny comedy. I feel like his facial expressions hit me a lot more when it does that, so I thought there was a lot of subtle comedy in there, which I liked. Like I said, don't love the movie, but I liked it. I was like, okay, it did it for me. And this is when, what's her name? Chloe Grace Moretz was like in her height. So it was pretty cool to see her as like the little werewolf daughter and all that. So I thought it was cool. Ava Green's fine ass. Never really mad seeing her.
Oh yeah. Do me a favor, Knight. They're saying that they can't hear you. I don't know if your connection got slightly worse, but if you can do anything to tweak the volume and bring it up a little bit, the chat will probably appreciate you for it, because you got some great insight about this stuff.
So Dark Shadows, for me, was definitely one of the ones that you and me are on the same page. I watched about half again and turned it off.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, I've had my fill. I'm good.
Knight, talk to me for a second. What do you think about the performance of Chloe Grace Moretz as the werewolf in Dark Shadows?
Let's see. Can you hear me better? First, if I do that.
That's what I was wondering. It's
still
quiet.
A little quiet.
Still a little quiet. Golly. Let's try this. We're going to go old school. I unplugged and plugged it back in again. Did that work?
It didn't do much, but I don't think you're like silent either. I don't know what the situation is. I did notice that it got a little bit quieter, but if you can't do much to change it, I guess just
Yeah.
we'll see what happens. We'll see.
All
what
right,
happens.
it is what it is.
Oh no, you sound better now, dude.
Right.
Yeah, it definitely sounds better.
Okay.
It's still a little bit quieter, but nothing like it was. It
Okay.
got real quiet for a while.
So yeah, did you like
so
the
yeah,
werewolf?
question about Chloe. Yeah, I thought it was cool. Her little fight at the end when she finally got something to do, because throughout the movie she was just playing the angsty teen. But I thought it was really cool once the transformation actually happened and she had more to do. That was when, like I said, Chloe Grace was at like in the heights of like popularity and stardom and all that, and she made a few really good movies. And then when she did this, I was like, oh, okay, cool. So I actually didn't mind her performance in this.
Nice. Yeah.
She did what she was supposed to do.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And it was kind of cool to see her play in that wheelhouse because, yeah, it is definitely Tim Burton's world, and she got to live in it for a little while. Everybody in the chat is saying that your voice is better and that it was probably
Yeah,
just
I
a
just
loose
saw it.
connection. So that's good. Good. Okay, so here we are now coming off of Dark Shadows and into Frankenweenie, which is Tim Burton revisiting his stop-motion short film from the very beginning of his career when he was like probably early 20s, if not late teens. And I'm back on board. This 2012 stop-motion black and white movie about a Frankenstein dog was very heartwarming and sweet, and I liked it a lot.
I never saw it. This is one. I've
skipped
seen the original, but that was it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I have at least some bit of confidence that if you guys are fans of stop motion or Leica Studios, that you will at least be able to appreciate it on a visual level. I was surprised by how touching it was, and here's an anecdote for Caleb and John. I wouldn't be surprised to find out that you feel the same way, but there's that episode of Futurama where Fry's dog waits outside of the pizzeria for him after he goes to the future. And
It's called Jurassic Bark.
Jurassic Bark. It brings me
Oh,
to
you know the
tears,
title.
bro.
Gotcha.
That shit is so good. It's the best episode of Futurama ever because it breaks your heart. John, have you seen that one?
So I do remember that episode. I was not the biggest fan of Futurama. I'm
Okay.
actually in the very slim few that actually do not like Futurama. But I do remember that episode, and Fry did turn in a pretty good performance, I will say.
Yeah, man, that was such a good one.
I've seen, probably not even exaggerating, I've probably seen every single episode of Futurama 10 times.
Yeah,
Now front to back.
same.
Easy.
Same.
Wow.
And to me, Frankenweenie gave me that kind of feeling. Let's see. I just now saw one from Jeremy. Oh yeah, Jeremy Mullins asked, "Was the short film stop motion?" Yes, it was. Yes, it was. And that was kind of Tim Burton's thing. Was he just was a diehard fan of the stuff of Harryhausen and all of the great stop motion artists from the bygone era or whatnot.
Man, Harryhausen is incredible.
Oh yeah.
It's interject, man. A huge Ray Harryhausen fan.
And I'm a child of the '90s. I know you guys are a couple years younger than me. Actually, Knight, you might be a lot of years younger than me. But I grew up loving like goth culture. Like The Crow's one of my favorite movies. Like Tim Burton really molded a lot of the. If he wasn't necessarily an influential filmmaker, which I think there's points to be made on both sides, but I think culturally his influence was profound. If you go into a hot topic to this day, 90% of the shit on the shelves is going to be The Nightmare Before Christmas and Jack Skellington and things like that.
Yep.
Every time it's
Yes.
it's so funny because like I did not grow up in goth culture at all. I grew up totally opposite of that culture, and totally opposite of like suburban culture, which I think goth culture really took form in.
Yeah.
So for me, like I always, when I see that goth culture in Tim Burton, I think of like South Park, the goth kids. Where they're like, we're not conforming. You're like, you guys all look the same. What are you talking about?
Yeah. Same with punk rock or any of that kind of stuff. And it
Yeah.
is interesting that you said that, Caleb. It's like privilege gives you the ability to have that kind of angst. Like if you're, middle class, upper middle class white kid living in the suburbs, then you can afford to, be all upset because the world is like a drag or whatever. But it is, it's definitely a funny thing. And I do feel like Tim Burton turned that feeling into like a cottage industry in a way that is incredibly it's permeated the culture in many, many ways, and is I even think about bands like My Chemical Romance or Doom Patrol. I feel is heavily aesthetically borrows from what Tim Burton did, which ironically Doom Patrol is actually much older. But Umbrella Academy, I feel the same way about that as well. So I still think that he's left a lasting fingerprint, even though like I totally agree that not a lot of other filmmakers have tried to do exactly what he did. So yeah, Frankenweenie, man. Frankenweenie's a good one. And then he did another kind of art house, smaller budget movie, I would say, is probably the most comparable to Big Fish. And it's got big in the title as well. So maybe that's why I said that. Have you seen Big Eyes, John?
I have not seen Big Eyes, but I love Christoph Waltz?
Uh-huh, that's the one.
Yeah. I love Christoph Waltz, but I never got around to seeing that one.
Caleb, did you see that one?
No, this is another one. This and Big Fish. When I don't like Tim Burton, that Big Fish, Sweeney Todd are like the three I missed that everyone brings up. And they're like, well, you haven't seen those three.
Wait, is that Amy Adams too, right?
Yes, it is.
That's also probably why she kind of annoys me.
Not a fan of Amy Adams.
Yeah, no.
Okay, me and John are on the same page.
Yeah,
What?
she kind of annoys me.
There's like two movies I really like with her in it.
There's not even one. I'm
What
sorry.
the hell is the
can't.
matter with you, dude?
I hate her Lois Lane and everything else. Like she annoys me. I can't do it. I've tried thousands of
Arrival
times.
is incredible though with her.
Okay, I've not seen Arrival, but I
It's
keep hearing it's
amazing.
amazing.
It's
and
amazing.
Denise is one of my favorite directors, so I need to get on that.
Can I ask you a question, John? I don't mean to be controversial, but is it because she's white?
I'm always controversial. Yeah, fuck her, man. No, it's because I don't know. It's just like her. I don't know. Like her acting annoys me, and her face annoys me. I know that's hard. It's just certain like faces she makes, and just like I just don't buy it,
She's
and it
very
irks me for
breathy.
some reason. She is very breathy, and I feel like she's one of those actresses that kind of hold the same note for me. Like, I kind of feel like she's the same in like everything. I'm like, I don't see anything different from you. And then being a Bostonian, I was personally offended at her taking The Fighter. I was like, this is horrible. I don't know what kind of accent you are doing, but this is just like, but yeah, I can't with Amy.
Oh man, I'm here for the hot takes. I love that. That was fantastic. Good stuff. Good
I
stuff.
like that I'm not the only one with hot takes finally.
Yeah, I know, right?
Oh no, I have a lot of takes, brother. Yeah, stick around.
Dude,
Now
we will
can
have
get
to do this
cancel
again.
Knight instead of cancel Caleb in the chat.
Yes. Yeah, we will definitely have to do this again. I think this is a great show. This is a great crew of people. So we will definitely revisit this. So after Big Eyes, which I did see and I liked, all right. It's cool. It's based on a true story, and there was this female artist back in the 1960s, and she was extremely talented, and her work was very well received. But the thing is, I don't think she was the most like social and business savvy. Everybody thought her husband was the artist, so he got credit for her entire career. I mean, they split the money or whatever, but he was the face. Basically, he was to her what Tim Burton is to Henry Selick in Nightmare Before Christmas, right? You know what I mean? Like, everybody saw the stuff and thought it was his, which is it's cool. It's an interesting story, and I enjoyed it. It's not one of my favorites, but after that, 2016, a film I did not see that I heard Knight mention up top is Mrs. Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. It looked like a Tim Burton X-Men movie. Would you say that's fair?
Yes, just not as much action or cool, but I did like it. It was an intriguing direction. And this gave Samuel L. Jackson, who can always never do any fucking wrong, a chance to really just be quirky and be in Tim Burton's world, and it was really awesome. But yeah, I liked it. It was a good story. The execution wasn't bad. The only thing is it can kind of drag a lot throughout the film. I was like, okay, you could have cut without this, or you can kind of pick it up a little bit.
Sure.
But I didn't mind it. And again, Ava Green, not mad.
No, can't be mad
the-
at Ava Green.
The first half of that film, I actually really, really enjoy the first half of that film.
It went strong.
With the world building and the characters. It falls apart for me once it tries to be a more of a traditional comic booky action movie in the third act. It really falls apart. But honestly, everything before he gets into the action is pretty damn good, to be honest.
Yeah, and it's great story build up. Like they really create this really and invite you into this world that's like, that you can really get into and invest with. But like Caleb said, towards I'd say about the middle and then to the rest of the third act, they just really lost their footing. We're trying to do some stuff. So
that happens oftentimes in movies. Like setups are a lot of times compelling, but then there's the expectation that's put upon filmmakers by the audiences, or they're like, well, now we got to do a big dumb fucking spectacle set piece that lasts for the last 30 minutes of the movie because you know that's what audiences want. But I don't know if we really want it. It's just what they fucking feed to us over and over again.
It's cool if done right.
Yes.
And if you time it perfectly. Like the biggest example of that, don't mean to get away from Tim Burton for 2 seconds, but is Wonder Woman. Like had a great setup. The movie's great, but then that last third act with that fight, I was like, this is really dragging and it's too much. It's not really compelling. But I said that's the best example.
That's me.
Couldn't agree
Anyone
more.
who knows my movie taste, third acts with big action scenes almost instantly will make me hate your movie.
Yeah.
Like it just turns me off from it so much.
That's when Victoria checks out of every Marvel movie, and she'll normally like them for the first 2/3 of the movie, and then when all of Ultron's robots show up and there's like all this stuff happening, but nothing's really happening, and she's just like, all right, I'm done.
I've yet to say that about a Marvel film yet, so I can't say that.
Not one.
Where the third act was like, what the hell is going on? I'm over it. No, everyone has had me just like, yay, like, oh my god. Yeah, I've yet to have that.
I'm gonna not say what I would say, and I think by not saying it, then you already understand which one that I have a problem with the third act. But that said, the 2019 film Dumbo, probably the most offensive and egregious, just it bothers me so. Like, dude, the racist crows in the original Dumbo did not offend me near as much as just the entire new movie. It is so weird.
I was about to say, like, what's so bad about like what? I heard it was ass, but
I thought you were going like a route like the racist crows are in the new one or something, and they're really worse.
No, dude, no. It's okay. So the thing that's interesting about Tim Burton and in particular about Disney, let's look at it from the perspective that Disney is a multi-billion-dollar corporation. They're one of the most powerful, influential companies in the world, and they always take an anti-capitalist stance on things narratively in their movies. Like, corporations are bad and it's about the people, or the rebellion versus the empire. And it's like, you guys are the empire. You know that, right? Like, it bothers me. It really bothers me. And I couldn't articulate exactly what it is about Dumbo that bothers me so much. But they try to have their cake and eat it too, because it's obviously a movie about keeping animals in cages being bad. And then it ends with the nice people owning a circus where they keep the animals in cages, but they don't abuse the animals anymore, I guess. So that's
intentions
good.
are good.
Yeah. And then there's this really anti-corporate message in it where they're like selling Dumbo merchandise at this World Fair that's very clearly a stand-in for Disney, and it's done by Tim Burton, and it's almost like this ballsy move where he's like subconsciously sticking it to the man. But when you know how many writers are involved in it and stuff like that, Disney totally signed off on this. So they want you to have your cake and eat it too. And I found it to be very insincere and just ring completely false. Am I the only one that saw Dumbo?
Yeah,
I skipped it. I was like, I don't give a damn.
But what you described again goes back to what I think about Hollywood. That's Hollywood in a nutshell. Hollywood in a nutshell is rich white people who are capitalists telling me that rich white people who are capitalists are evil.
Bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
And in a way, it's true, but we don't need to hear it from Disney.
Yeah, like here's the thing: is if you're
The most powerful company in the world.
Yes.
it's like when tech companies take an anti-capitalist stance. You're like a $1 trillion company. What are you talking about?
Yes. Oh, Jeremy Mullins, love this. Warm take. Skywalker is the Bin Laden of Star Wars. # the Empire did nothing wrong. I don't know how that one slipped through the cracks, but I fucking love you for it, dude. That is amazing. That is so
That's
funny.
hilarious.
Oh shit! Tell us what you really think, Jeremy. That's what Alex W said. Anybody in the chat
Right.
that has seen Dumbo, please let me know. Andy said, "LOL, never thought about it that way." Yeah. It's I'm cynical. I mean, you guys know that. That's why you come back here, is to hear my cynical takes on stuff and to hear Caleb shit on everything you love.
Oh, Heath Ledger, Knight. Only Thor: The Dark World had a bad third act. So when I say no movie in Marvel has been maybe hate a third act, these are movies from Marvel that are actually good. So but oh hey, the third act was great, but if the movie in general is just trash, well then I just don't count that. The movie sucks.
It's a good point. It's the third act that's ruining it for you. Yeah. For sure. Somebody said all the live action Disney movies are terrible, and that is true. There is that problem for me as well. Oh, okay. What do you got? John disagrees.
Not true. You will watch your mouth, sir.
Which one do you like out of all?
Fucking Aladdin, I absolutely adore.
All right, and that's
Aladdin
our time.
was
Thank you guys so much
amazing.
for stopping by.
What? Aladdin was great, dude. Lion King
here's-
was a disappointment, but Aladdin, I fucking love it.
I'm actually really glad to hear that you liked it.
Music.
I'm going to take even hotter take on this. Is I don't hate the live action Disneys. Not because I think they're great. I just think they're the same quality as the original cartoons are.
Man, always with the bullshit with this
But
one.
see, here's the thing, especially in Aladdin's case, I'm the one where the music is so much better than the original in the new one for me, than the original Aladdin. The music in the live action is ridiculously great.
I didn't hate Aladdin. I didn't hate Lion King. But I don't have nostalgia for the original ones because I don't have any. I don't really care for the originals either.
Lion King hurt.
Martial
Lion
arts
King hurt.
film freak. I didn't even watch Greatest Showman. Fuck the circus. Could not agree with you more. Could not agree with you more. I hate circuses. I think that they are completely. It's gross. It's antiquated. And who wants to go to a circus without animals? So yeah, I'm good on all of that. But
Hate the circus all you want. Fucking watch The Greatest Showman. It is
I've never seen
phenomenal.
it either.
The music, oh my god, goosebumps.
Oh,
Fucking watch The Greatest Showman.
you
It's
like
amazing.
musicals. This I'm learning a lot about you, and I
do like
appreciate
musicals,
that.
yes, if done right. But The Greatest Showman is bro, that shit is phenomenal. Also, it does have personal ties with me, given I was in a relationship and that was our movie. But just the movie, what it represents, what it talks about, the music itself is just so beautifully done, and it gets you hype. It is amazing. Even though, yes, what's his name? The Hugh Jackman plays. The
Yeah,
circus guy,
Barnum, P.T. Barnum.
Even though he's a complete asshole in real life and a dick and a racist and all that, they don't portray that in the film. I don't give a fuck. It's such a good movie. See it.
Hey,
See it.
Somebody do me a favor. Put Jeremy Mullins in timeout for his hot take there. You don't have to do it. You don't have to do it for long. If you can do it for 20 or 30 seconds, I'm done hearing from him for right now. Jeremy Mullins says, another hot take. The animated Aladdin is extremely overrated, and it's Robin Williams' worst performance. I love you, Jeremy, but sorry, dude. 30 seconds.
Christmas.
You get put out for 30 seconds for that shit. You just so you know.
That was insane.
We're gonna say it's his worst performance. I mean, I don't like that performance, but it's not his worst performance.
Thank you.
Oh my god.
Thank you, Random Andy's channel. I know I was just joking, but that is still hilarious. That is so funny.
He actually did it. I saw it.
Oh, we have fun. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know
wow.
about his worst
All live action
performance.
Disney movies bad. That's interesting.
I'm 100% in agreement with that. However, I will say that the Jungle Book is pretty good.
Jungle Book is good. I keep forgetting about
Jungle Book. So the Jungle Book bothers me because it's two movies smashed together and it can't decide which it wants to be. Does it want to be a dark and serious movie like Mowgli? Does it want to be a kid's film?
Sure, I
that.
can
Mowgli
see
was
that.
weird as fuck.
Mowgli
changes
was
all the
weird,
time.
bro.
Dude, Mowgli's so dope. So much better than Jungle Book for me because at least it's tonally the same.
But it's
like-
weird.
Oh,
It's
I love
so
that
weird.
shit.
At least I love the reason why I love between the CGI between the two where the animals in Jungle Book were CGI animals. In Mowgli, I'm seeing Christian Bale's face on a panther. It is weird. I'm like, this is so awkward. I don't know what to do. But yeah.
Dude,
No.
Mullins, I hope that you reply when you get back in the chat. I was just totally fucking around. I think you know that, but he's probably like 30 seconds. I'm out.
Flubber or toys what, Alex? As Robin Williams' worst? You will not talk shit about Flubber, sir. You will not.
Or what
Flubbers.
was the other one? Old Dogs or whatever.
Oh, Wild Hogs?
Wild Hogs. Yeah.
That was pretty fucking bad, yeah.
Robin Williams is another guy, just because, not even shitting on Robin Williams, just because he has such a massive catalog, he has some really bad movies.
Oh, that's just generally anybody. I don't
Yeah.
think anybody does not have like a horrible movie.
No, like he has a ton, but not because I think he's bad. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan. I think he's, but he just he did so many films that it's like, yeah, he's gonna have some pretty bad ones in there.
And 9 times out of 10, it's not their fault. It's the director or what they're given, the writers and all that shit. It's just not their fault. I.e.,
1
Halle
Hour
Berry
Photo
Catwoman.
is
Yeah.
his best movie.
Yeah, that's a good point. Somebody did say Old Dogs is the movie that Robin Williams. Oh, it was in comic books. Robin Williams was not in Wild Hogs. Old Dogs is the movie. All right, there we go.
Which one's Wild Hogs then? What the fuck am I thinking of?
That
That was
is a
Tim
movie.
Allen.
Yeah, that's the
Oh.
one. That's the one.
Yes, Tim Allen, Martin Lawrence, and all of them. Yeah, Old Dogs was John Travolta and Robin Williams. Got it. And no, Alex, I do not love cats.
That I was about to ask. I saw somebody mention that there in the chat. All right, guys. Well, as you can see, we're taking a couple of questions from you. So if you do have any ideas or questions that you would like to hear us talk about for just a second, make sure to leave those in the comment section or in the chat. We're going to probably stick around for the next 12 minutes, and we would love to hear from you guys. Before we do wrap up the conversation on Tim Burton, I think we all have kind of decided which side we come down on with him, but just definitively, so we got the sound bite. I'm saying Tim Burton is a genius.
I'm saying Tim Burton is a hack.
I'm saying Tim Burton is smack in the middle.
Son of a bitch.
Can I say that?
Damn fence sitter. No.
Yeah, right. Because I don't want to call him a hack. So I'm like, he's given us so much. But
I
I'm
actually
like,
think hack's too far too, but it's a good.
yeah, I'm
sound
like,
bite.
but if I had to say between the two, then I'd say a hack. But,
Oh, wow. You guys
Yeah.
are amazing. I love it. I understand. Like what, as I'm going through his filmography, it's like love. And then I hit a certain point and I have to wonder, is it just age? Did I grow out of him or did he change? You know what I
was
mean?
just
grew
gonna
out of
ask you
us.
that. I was going to say, I don't think he's ever changed. I think nostalgia, now that we're seeing it with fresh eyes, it's not as fresh as it was.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. That's why I made that comparison in the beginning of why I had to do in the fence, because he's a genius just in his own realm. Like, he doesn't give us anything crazy outside of for us to look at him differently or to be innovative or like, oh, he's done so much for cinema. He's done so much for his Burton verse.
Yeah.
And it's like, he inspired other things outside of cool, but him personally, he's never really stepped outside to do a drastic thing like, holy shit, look at Tim Burton. It's just never been done. So I feel like if you do that, you're bound to get yourself lost through time.
I think that's a really good way of saying it. I do have a question from Richard F. And he says, and this is a tough one, but he says, what's the best movie of 2020? Didn't like Tenet. The Gentleman might be favorite of a bad year. So
I gotta think about what the hell came out in 2020. It was
I
like
know.
2 movies.
That's me. Like, I've seen so many movies this year, but none of them were from 2020. Like, 2 of them were.
Yeah, what the fuck came
I
out?
really
Let's
do
see.
hope Mullins is back, Andy. If not, it's 100% my fault. I encourage that, so I'll take the heat for it. I'm gonna message him as soon as we get done on the live stream. Because for one thing, I'm super stoked that he came to actually hang out and talk some movies with us. But then I had to be a dickhead.
Heath Ledger asked, what's your favorite Jack Nicholson movie?
Ooh, that's a
Oh.
good one.
I
The
love
Shining.
Wolf.
Oh, Wolf's a good choice, man. Unorthodox. Yeah, I'm going The Shining.
I'm still trying to figure out what the hell came out in 2020.
Chinatown, maybe?
Oh,
Chinatown.
Chinatown is a great pick, dude.
Yeah, I think I gotta go Chinatown. But he has a lot of good ones.
2020 popular movies. I hear Love and Monsters is really good. I haven't watched that one yet.
Haven't
The
seen it
trailer
yet.
intrigued me. I really wanted to see that.
I really enjoyed what was that one that I watched the other day?
Was One Cut of the Dead 2020 or was it 2019?
Ooh, that's a good question. If it was 2020, I'm going with that one.
What
If it's
movie?
One Cut of the Dead. Tell them about that. Well,
Yeah,
you
what is
can't.
that?
You
So
can't.
One Cut of the Dead, I will say the same thing Jeremy told me. Watch it. You're going to
Mm-hmm.
hate the first half, but watch the whole thing because trust me, it's worth it.
It's
Okay.
so incredibly good.
Cut of...
How was Archive, Caleb?
That's 27. Possessor?
Jim Loves Art said that he really liked Archive.
Oh, heck yeah. Awesome, man. Yeah, 2020, that was a 2020 film. That's one of my higher ups. Not because I would say it's the best, but because it's just the best one I've seen probably right now. I liked Possessor a lot. Again, that's like a 7 out of 10, but for me, he's real high because I'm a picky bitch.
I'm
But
going through
Possessor
all
was
the
really
films
good.
so far, and the only thing that I've seen that could pop up is The Invisible Man. That was pretty damn great.
I was looking at that as well, Knight. That is a very good movie. Palm Springs, I thought was pretty good. The one with Andy Samberg in it, I thought that one was pretty cool. And then I also liked American Pickle pretty good with Seth Rogen in it.
Is that good?
I
That
didn't check
looked
that
really
out. I
good.
really wanted to see that.
It's fun. It's a good one. It's not flat out hilarious the entire time, but it's clever, and he's playing 2 versions of himself, which is super cool. Oh wow, I got a $5 super chat from Renee Taylor or Reen Taylor, and it says, "Love watching you, Jeremy. Keep up the amazing vids, brother." Thank you very much. You guys mean everything. Without you, we're just talking to ourselves, and we do love talking movies. We'd be doing it otherwise, but the fact that you decide to come by and spend a little bit of time out of your week with us it's humbling. It means a lot, and I know that I speak on behalf of all of us when we say thank you very much for checking this out.
Damn, I know I'm missing a movie in 2020 that I knew was like, holy shit, this is amazing, and I know I'm forgetting it, and it's pissing me off.
Speaking, since Random Andy's channel brought up Archive, which was my show, Caleb's Movie Corner, next week's episode is going to be a film called A Prayer Before Dawn.
Oh, yeah.
Incredible film. The show always is spoiler free, but if you want to come by and just hear me rant about how much I like this movie, come on in.
Okay.
It'll be up on Monday.
I should tell you, and I should have done it up at the top. I am loving the Caleb's Movie Corner reviews. You do such a good job on it. It adds so much value to the channel, and it also gives a perspective that's not just specifically mine. I'm such a big fan of that, and in a lot of ways I feel like it almost covers the movie club part of it. What would be great is if we could figure out a way to kind of merge those two worlds so that everybody knows what movie you're going to be talking about. I'll come and join in for the premieres, and we can all kind of talk about them together because I mean, that's essentially what you're doing. You're recommending movies that not a lot of us have seen, and I think that's super cool.
That was, remember when we started Movie Club, that was my whole thing. I was like, I love talking about random movies that I love. I was like, we should do a movie club. So I'm happy that we're able to bring that, which is honestly just a reboot of when I had a YouTube channel.
Yes.
That's what I did.
Yeah.
It's literally the same format.
Yeah. There's
so-
actually, sorry, didn't mean to
Oh, no,
continue
go
that
ahead.
one. There's actually a few Netflix movies that I did see that are actually really damn good.
What you
so
got?
far, there's one called The 40-Year-Old Version,
Okay.
which is really good. So it's about this playwright who's in her 40s and trying just basically how to reinvent herself. So she finds that through music and starts rapping. It's one hilarious,
All right. I like the
but
premise.
a really good like character piece. And then there's His House, which is a horror, which is really good. Psychological, just basically.
Wow.
Oh, sorry. Is that the
No,
one
but-
where they move the African family moves?
Yep. So
I am watching that this weekend. That looks incredible.
It's really good. So it basically deals with obviously like racism within also like London era as well. Well, not London era, but in London, these refugees. And what happens, the sole purpose of the film is basically what you will do to have your own, to have that happy life you've always wanted to escape the world that you're living in, with the lengths that you'll do to achieve that. It's ridiculous.
Well, so you don't know
I'm
this about
sold.
me, John, but yeah, my wife is actually an African immigrant. So we
Wow.
watched the trailer and she was like, I'm sold. We're watching this.
Yeah,
It
it's
looks
so
incredible.
good. And the imagery is pretty creepy. That and then The Boys in the Band. That's my last one. That was a really good one
Okay.
as well.
I saw somebody say No Love for the Gentleman of Guy Ritchie's. Richard F. I thought The Gentleman was fantastic.
seen it.
I
Was that 2020?
really enjoyed it. It was the very beginning of the year. And then I don't even know why I overlooked it. My favorite movie this year is hands down Tenet. I Tenet is badass. It
I'm
is
so pissed off. I couldn't see fucking Tenet because no theaters open out here.
Oh yeah, you're in New York, aren't you? What bureau are
Yeah.
you in? Are you outside of the city?
Bronx.
Oh wow, no doubt, no doubt.
Yeah.
We
So
got-
everyone is in LA and all these other places talking about, I'm gonna go see Tenet when I'm sitting there crying in the corner. I'm like, I can't see it.
No doubt.
So I missed out.
We got Florida man, we got Colorado man, we got man straight from the Bronx. Hey, did you see Vampires versus the Bronx?
Yes.
Did you like it?
I loved it.
It was good,
really
right?
Good. It captured, that was definitely the Bronx. Like it captured all of that. I loved the tone of that.
I
They did
think
really good.
me and Jeremy had like the same take. We loved the character building Bronx stuff more than the horror.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah.
That
The
part's
horror
the
shit, yeah, no.
No, but the part, like, honestly, I kind of wish it was a movie just about the Bronx because the parts with the kids is so incredible.
Yeah, and it's so true. Like what they did, I was like, wow, that's cool. And just watching, I'm like, oh, they're there. Oh, they're there. Oh, they're there. So like, it was really great. Is nobody gonna talk about Birds of Prey? Like that was like the best movie of like the.
It was all right. I didn't
I
hate
liked
it.
Birds of Prey.
Yeah.
I really liked Birds of Prey.
I didn't hate it. I thought it was fun. Colorado Space is good. Jeremy just now said, let's see, Borat 2, Colorado
yeah, Borat 2
Space.
was
That
great.
yeah.
Yep.
Oh wait, was The Lighthouse this year? Because that was fucking awesome
I
too.
think that was 2019, but I'm
Okay,
not sure.
because
I
I,
think that was
love
last
that
year.
one. That Go
Alive.
ahead, Caleb.
Alive was actually really good. Hashtag Alive.
yeah, we like that one.
I really enjoyed it. I don't know if it's the best of the year, but it
I
was
haven't heard
really,
that.
really good.
It's a shot. No, never mind. We watched it on Netflix, but it's a South Korean zombie movie that really incorporates modern technology. The main character is a streamer. Knight, I think you should check it out. You'd probably enjoy it.
Okay, hey, one of my favorite movies of last year was a Korean flick, so I'm cool with it.
Was it Parasite?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Parasite was fucking phenomenal.
It's a good one.
Oh my god.
Just don't ask Caleb about it.
Oh dude, Extraction was 2020, wasn't it? Extraction
Uh-huh.
was great.
I haven't seen it.
I watched so many movies this year. I'm going through because I keep a list on Letterboxd of everything I've watched in the year. I just add them to a list.
I'm just trying to remember what came out this year.
None of them are from 2020. Like 2 of them are.
That's wild. All right,
damn.
guys.
Only just 2?
It's we just now hit 7:58, so we're gonna go ahead and wrap this thing up. It's been fun all the way around. John, first of all, I really want to thank you for coming by to do this with us.
Oh man, thank you for having me, dude. It's been so much fun, and whenever, please let me know. I'm down for whenever you want me again. This was great.
Excellent. And Caleb, as always, man, it's always a pleasure, always fun, always a wild ride. And I want to thank everybody in the chat for stopping by to check this out. There are many things that we could promote, but you guys make sure that you head over and check out Knight TFC for Knight the Film Cave. He's got a huge event coming up here in just a matter of a couple days. I'm going to link the channel down in the description. As Caleb said, he's got an entire weekly series that he is releasing right here on the Movies Are Terrible YouTube channel. Make sure that you're checking out the collaborations that I'm doing over at Holden Hardman's channel, as well as Momentum Media, and definitely the Controversy as well. All sorts of good stuff. Love you guys all so much for stopping by to check out this episode of the podcast. And until next time, and on behalf of all of us, be terrible.
close to my